I'm Deborah Borchardt, and this is your midday market update. Well, the indices are down across the board. Not bad, but still down. We've had some big Dow companies reporting this morning. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, that's contributing to the Dow being down. Although, to be fair, most of the Dow stocks are up year to date, except for Alcoa and Caterpillar. But let's talk about Coca-Cola, which had a fairly disappointing quarter. I am joined by Keith Bliss from Catone. So, you know, they blamed it on the weather. I hate it when a company blames their earnings on the weather. I guess if it's cold and wet out there, you don't buy Coca-Cola or iced tea, but you would buy an energy drink. Was that a surprise that it was down so bad?
I think their top line revenues were a surprise. And listen, having grown up in the South, as you have, you know when it gets cool outside, you tend to stay away from soft drinks a little bit. And that's certainly true up in the Northeast. And it's fair to say, while the weather sounds like a flimsy excuse in some regards, it is fair to say when you're talking about a beverage company that sells soft drinks and soft drinks that are good over ice, that if you have a cooler season, they're not going to sell as much product. You can see the seasonality, the intra-year seasonality of Coca-Cola products. And you can tell that some of their beverages and their soft drinks do take a hit in the winter season. So that tells you that there is some weather aspect to what they do in their business. I think the more troubling sign for Coca-Cola, though, is not necessarily the North American market. That's been a mature market for a while, whether you have cold weather or not. It's what's going on in Europe. It's what's going on in China. Those are two big growth markets for them, and they were down substantially, and that speaks to the global macroeconomic problems that we're still facing and the headwinds that Coke will face for a few quarters to come.
Well, Coca-Cola did have some currency issues, but Johnson & Johnson also had those currency issues. The thing was Johnson & Johnson came in with 8 and 9% sales growth. They also had great growth in many of their products across the board, Tylenol, Motrin. They got some drug approvals. So it seems like Johnson & Johnson, just the opposite story, having a great quarter.
Sales is always the important aspect of any earnings report to me because firms, either through accounting tricks or one-off adjustments, they can manufacture the bottom line EPS number. So we really don't focus on whether they meet or beat the EPS estimates. It's always top-line sales, and you're absolutely right. J&J had a fantastic quarter. I'd love to dig a little bit deeper inside of the numbers because one of the areas that they really did quite well was medical devices, and I wonder if that's surgeons accelerating any type of elective surgeries that people may be having for knees or hips or shoulders or other things like that require medical devices because the excise tax within Obamacare has still not been repealed on medical devices. That's going to be a 2.3% excise tax on any of these device makers for every product they sell. So they're probably accelerating some of those surgeries and getting them in. So I'm curious to see what J&J looks like in the third and fourth quarter and the first quarter of 2014 with regard to medical device sales. That's going to be an important feature, but you're absolutely right. Across most of their lines of business, their big lines of business, which are pharmaceuticals and medical devices, they had a great quarter, really outstanding.
Of course, we've got Bank of America tomorrow, another big Dow name. Now, the banks that have been reporting, Goldman Sachs, for example, today, not a Dow stock, but they had a very good quarter as far as profits. One would think with JP Morgan and Wells Fargo last week, Goldman today, that we should get a pretty good quarter out of Bank of America.
You would think so, and that is the projection. The financial, but you know, who knows with Bank of America? Anything?
You would think so.
Yeah. The financial companies, that sector was the one sector that was going to be the real highlight of this earnings season. And it's clear what's going on, and particularly when you look at Goldman's report, the financial companies, especially the large multinational conglomerates, have really benefited from the easy money policies around the globe. Goldman's underwriting business and their M&A business was outstanding this quarter, both in debt and equity underwritings. Debt underwritings because interest rates are very low, so companies are coming to market with debt offerings. Equity underwritings because of the free money that's found its way into the equity markets. The equity markets are at an all-time high. If you're a company thinking about going public, now's the time to do it. So that's why Goldman has benefited across that. They've also benefited quite well in their trading activities, again, because of some volatility in the market. It's a fantastic quarter. So again, of all the, of all the sectors that we track, the financials should benefit the most from the easy money policies, and we're actually seeing that borne out in the second quarter, and I suspect we'll see it with Bank of America tomorrow as well.
All right, so high hopes for Bank of America tomorrow. I'm sure the Dow index could use it after taking a little bit of a beating today, just a little bit of a beating. That's Keith Bliss from Catone, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with The Street.